ሰላም ጋይሶች እንዴት ናችሁልኝ? ዛሬ አሪፍ ቪዲዮ ነው ይዤላችሁ የመጣሁት። አንድ 10 ጌሞች ባን የተደረጉ ጌሞች መጫወት ማይችሏቸው ከኢንታየር ካንትሪ ማለት ነው። ማለት አንድ ካንትሪ የሆነ ጌምን ባን ያደርጓቸው ጌሞች አንድ 10 አሉ። ዛሬ እነሱን እናያቸዋለን ማለት ነው።
Iraq banned PUBG.
ወይኔ አይራክ ውስጥ በሆነ እኮ ማለት ነው ቻቴ ላይ PUBG ሚል ሰው ይቀንሳል። እና አይራክ ውስጥ ነበር መፈጠር የነበረብኝ ማለት ነው። አትክልቱ ያኛው አትክልት ጋይስ እሱ ይያይቻልም። ስለዚህ እዚህ ጌም ላይ ምንድነው ያደረጉት? ሂሊንግ ማቴሪያል አላርጉት ያንን ቃ ነገር። በሌላ ነገር ደግሞ 38k ደርሰናልና ቴንክ ዩ ለማለት ነው በዛው ማለት ነው። ይሄን ቪዲዮ ከመጀመራችን በፊት ወደ ቪዲዮ ከመግባታችን በፊት ደግሞ እንደተለመደው ለዚህ ቻናል አዲስ የሆናችሁ ሰዎች ሰብስክራይብ፣ እቺን ቪዲዮ ደግሞ ላይክ በመስጠት እኔን ሰፖርት ታደርጋላችሁ። ወደ ቪዲዮ እንግባ።
At number 10 is Devotion. Now, Devotion is this really cool stylized horror game.
Any horror game ማለት ነው በአጠቃላይ ከሁሉም ኢንታየር ጌም ዩኒቨርስ ባን ቢደረጉ ምንም መስሎ ማይታለየኝ horror game ነው። እኔ ባለፈው The Last of Us Part 2 ሲጫወት እና ሊሻና ነበር ማለት ነው። ሊሻና ማለት
I really enjoy. It uses color in a really vibrant but terrifying way. It really does a good job. Now, the game itself is set in the 1980s, so it's very interesting that they hid in a very anachronistic Easter egg. There is a poster you can interact with that says Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping. Now, Xi Jinping is...
Oh, Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping. Yeah. China, the president
of China. And people claim that
Geography,
he looks like
Let's go.
Pooh. I don't care whether he does or doesn't, personally. He does, though. If you make media that is calling him Winnie the Pooh, and even in some cases simply just mentioning Winnie the Pooh at all, and try to disseminate it in China, you get banned. Now, I am only describing this. I have no idea if this is bannable in China. However, the developers of Devotion were not simply mentioning it. In providing both names with no further context, they're basically saying he looks like Winnie the Pooh. At number 9...
ስለዚህ Winnie the Pooh ይመስላል ብለው ባናስ ደረጉት ማለት ነው። ይሄ ጌም Genius.
9 Call of Duty Modern Warfare was weirdly banned.
ልገምት ለምን ባን እንደተደረገ ማለት ነው Call of Duty ኡነን ለመናገር እንደዚህ ሪአክሽን ቪዲዮ ሲሰራ ማለት ነው ኦነስት የሆነ ኦፒኒየን ነው የምናገረው እና ከዚህ በፊት ቪዲዮን አላየሁትም I swear to God ላችኋለሁ this is the first time I see reaction video any react ሳረግ በቃ this is the first time react ማረጋውና Call of Duty ባን የተደረገው የኔ ግምት የሚመስለኝ ትዝ ይላችኋል ከኤሊቬተር ወርዳችሁ ኤርፖርት ውስጥ ምትፈጇቸው ሲስ ኤፒሶድ ላይክ የሆኑ ራሻዎች ነገር ናችሁና ኤርፖርት ውስጥ ወጥቱና በቃ ዝብላችሁ ህዝቡን መፍጀት ነው ማለት ነው እና ሲቪሊያንስ ለመንገል መሰለኝ ባን የተደረገው ግምት
in the Russian PlayStation store. Now, the only real information we have on it is that Sony decided, and when I say decided, I'm putting quotes around it, but you can't see my hands. I'll read their statement. At the heart of Modern Warfare is a completely fictional story, carefully crafted to please all players.
አላልኳችሁ ማለት ነው ጋይሶች PlayStation ራሻን ቆቺ ድመቴ እየበጣጠጠች ነው አንድ
of 2017 you guys this is Shiba I wrote her in today because I'm telling you she's a better person
To me it's obvious they all got some kind of political pressure and Sony responded to it. At number 8 is Danganronpa
Warzone 1 ናፈቀኝ ማለት ነው የተጠቀመው ሲን ለቪዲዮ Warzone 1 ነው
V3 in South Korea. South Korea is often lauded as the amazing, beautiful, capitalist counterpart to North Korea's well, we all know what North Korea is. But hey, guess what? They aren't super in love with free speech either. They have a regulatory body called the Game Rating and Administration Committee, which has to rate all games that are released in the country. And when they saw Danganronpa V3, they were like, no, I'll read the law they cited. There is a concern for societal disruption due to an amplified portrayal of crime, violence, sex, or etc., which in turn would incite criminal behavior or copycat crimes. Hey, did you know that a copycat crime is when a criminal criminal actually commits a crime and somebody else does it because they realize that it's possible. Anyways, there was a murder case that happened around the release of the game, which was very grisly and involved murdering children, which the game is kind of about that. So I understand the sensitivity. However, lesson here, folks, always be critical of the state, whether the state supports a communist economy or a capitalist one. At number
አልገባኝም ያሁን አሁን ስድስተኛ ያወራው እንዳለ ማለት ነው ሄዷል በረዋል ነው የምላችሁ ላይክ ምን ጌም እንደሚያወራው
Number 7, Fallout 3 was banned in India.
ፎልአውትን በጣም ነው የሆነ ጓደኛዬ በጣም ነው የሚወደው ፎልአውትን ማለት ነው ፎልአውት ማለት የሆነ ኒውክሊየር ፈንድቶ ምናምን ነገር ነውና ቦራ አላረጋችሁም በጌም ስቶሪው ግን ጓደኛዬ በቃ በጣም ነው
Way back in 2008, which was cited as having cultural sensitivity issues. Now, Fallout 3 contains mutant two-headed cows, and the cows share a name with Hindu scholars and preachers. I'm talking specifically about Brahmin, who are generally some avatar of sacred learning in Hinduism. That's, of course, a very simple definition of it. You're welcome to do further research. I probably understand this one, however, as somebody who thinks that it's quite possible for people to make up their own minds on things. Maybe censoring the game wasn't the best idea, or they could have just asked for the cows to be taken out for the India version. I don't know. Because, I mean, let's just go ahead and say this. The Grand Theft Auto series without any problems, and I promise you, even if it's not specifically offensive in the
video editing ግን በጣም ያስደስታል ግን ወሬ የሚያስራዝመው ነገር ማለት ነው ያበሳጨኝ ነው go to the point man
the way that this is, it's a much more offensive game than Fallout 3. At number 6, the Western version of the PlayStation 4 game Judgment, a very cool game that I personally enjoyed quite a bit. An actor in it who was arrested for cocaine use. He loved the cocaine. Now, here in the United States, we don't ban stuff because somebody used cocaine. We generally kind of go, whatever. Hope they don't get too tangled up in that die of an overdose, and then we consume it like the pigs that we are, forgetting entirely about the ramifications of cocaine use. And, I mean, the game didn't get banned. However, they did change the guy in this country, which is
guys,
none of us know who that actor is. None of us know that he used cocaine. None of us would have cared. I mean, if you needed to change it for Japan, sure, but we didn't care. You kind of made extra work for yourselves, Sega. But to be fair, Sega is also the king of making things difficult on itself, so, I mean, it's kind of to be expected. Judgment's a great game. Play it. At number 5, Iraq banned PUBG.
ወይኔ አይራክ ውስጥ በሆነ እኮ ማለት ነው ቻቴ ላይ PUBG የሚል ሰው ይቀንሳል እናት አይራክ ውስጥ ነበር መፈጠር የነበረብኝ ማለት ነው
And unfortunately for a lot of Iraqi kids, that was a place where a lot of them actually met up without
PUBG ተጫዋቾች እግር ብሉ አይራክ ውስጥ በሆነ ማለት ነው አንጫወታተም ነበር
being monitored by their parents. The Iraqi government imposed a ban more or less because the game was popular. The reasoning is that it's addictive, but like, there's a lot of other games you would have to ban if simply being addictive was the problem. I guess it's kind of addictive to have friends, though, which is what a lot of PUBG players that were affected by this ban ended up saying. Because apparently life as an Iraqi youth is fairly alienating and difficult to find time, space, and a place to have friends. Internet cafes end up being a place where people do that. All it basically
ማለት ኤቭሪባዲ እየተገናኘ ያስቸግሯቸው ነው ማለት
piss off young people.
ይመቻቸው ያይራክ
continue to use it. I mean, the Iraqi government has heard of VPNs, right? At number 4, Great Britain banned a sexy dungeon crawler by the name of Omega Labyrinth Z. Great Britain has a video game ratings council, very similar to South Korea's. Theirs is called the Video Standards Council, and they refuse to give it a rating, effectively banning it in the country because you can't sell a game without a rating in the country. The VSC said this. They believe the content in the game would have strong appeal to non-adult players, which is an issue that would be unacceptable to the majority of UK consumers, and more importantly has the potential to be significantly harmful in terms of the social and moral development of young people in particular. Now, apparently some of the mechanics of the game are collecting underwear and bras and rubbing women's bodies using touch controls.
Oh my god,
to free them from imprisonment, which is, it's silly sounding, let's just go ahead and say. Little sus. But the game itself also got canceled in the US because the publisher that had signed on was like, actually, we don't want to bother with it. Now, like I said, I'm not really intending to look into the sexual content of a video game, but this one apparently has some stuff that's a little bit more objectionable than what I've described here. At number 3, Last of Us Part 2 got banned in a number of countries.
Okay, I know why Last of Us banned እንደተደረገ ጌሙን ተጫውቻለሁ በPS5 ያው ኤሊ ታቃላችሁ ሙቪ ላይም አይታችሁታል ፓርት 2 ላይ ደግሞ ማለት ነው ወሬ ብቻ ሳይሆን ያው ሌላም ሲን አለው በጣም ደባሪ የሆነ ሲን አለው አብሮ የሚመጣ ማለት ነውና I think that is the reason the Last of Us Part 2 ካንሰል ያደረጉበት ማለት ነው ምን እንደበሻቀጣቸው አላቀም እሱ መክተት ግዴታ አልነበረባቸውም ግን ጌሙ it was so satisfying ማለት ነው
and there really wasn't any reasons given it's kind of just like hey you can't buy this game if you even try now it's speculation it's because there's some LGBTQ content in the game let's just say and number 2 Australia's pretty ban happy with games I mean you've probably heard a story about them banning a game at some point, but sometimes their bans actually do something to the game. For instance, when DayZ got banned in Australia, they actually managed to get Bohemia Interactive to change the game worldwide in order to unban it, which they did. One of the primary reasons that Australia banned the game was the inclusion of a certain plant that is now legal in certain parts of the United States as a healing item. This is something that Australia frowns upon. But yeah, they modified it worldwide because they didn't want to separate.
አትክልቱ ያኛው አትክልት ጋይስ እሱ አይቻልም ስለዚህ እዚህ ጌም ላይ ምንድነው ያደረጉት healing material አላደረጉት ያንን
players from the rest.
ገባኝ
And finally at number 1, way back in 2008, Manhunt was not only banned in New Zealand.
I know Manhunt ለምን ባን እንደተደረገ the most brutal game ተብሎ ነው ማባን ያደረጉት እና ያው ሰውየው የሚነግራቸዋል በጣም ኃይለኛ የሆነ brutal የሆነ ጌም ነው ግን ማለት ነው ግራፊክሱ እንኳን ማለት ነው ምን ያደረገውላ እንደሆነ አታውቁም እያቀፈው ነው ወይስ እየወጋው ነው ወይስ ያነቀው ነው ወይስ እየሳመው ነው አንገቱ ላይ ምን ያደረገ ነው እንደሆነ አታውቁም ግን ያው ባን ተደርጓል በጣም ብሩታል ነው ተብሎ
ማለት But if you had the game if you possessed the game if someone saw you and reported you as owning a copy of Manhunt they would come and arrest you fine you for $2,000 if you had shown it to anyone under 18 you would be liable for a further fine of $20,000 and imprisonment for up to 1 year you would have to import the game into the country in order to do this because you had absolutely no way of getting it otherwise they were very serious about this ban I mean it's not like a fluffy cuddly nice game or anything but I think we've seen worse stuff at this point in New Zealand.
ግን ማለት ነው Manhunt one of በቃ የሆነ ጌም ነውና ላስኪ ካንስታችሁ ምናምን ሰው ትገላላችሁ ምናምን በጣም ነው የሚገርመው እና እርግጠኛ ነኝ ይሄንን ያስገባዋል ብዬ ነበር ግን GTA Vice City ካንሰል ተደርጎ ነበርና ከመኪና ውስጥ አውዱ ሰው ደብድበ ምናምን መኪና ተሰርቆ የለ GTA ላይ ኖርማሊ በቃ GTA ማለት Grand Theft Auto የተባለው ለዛ አይደል እና GTA ላይ አንደኛው የአውስትራሊያን ጋይ ማለት ነው GTA ከተጫወተ በኋላ አስወርዶ ጠብጥቦት መኪናውን ሰርቆ ሄደ ከዛ ለምን ነው እንደዚህ ያረከው ምናምን ሲባል ማለት ነው ያው GTA ላይ እቺ ነው ምናምን ምንቱ ጠሽ ነው ማለት ነው ግራ በላ አውስትራሊያ ሙሉ ሀገር GTA ሳይጫወቱ ነው የሚያልፉ ትራቨር ምን አይነት ሰውዬ እንዳልሆነ ሳያውቁ ነው የሚያሳልፉትና በጣም ነው የሚያሳዝነው ማለት ነው Thank you guys ይድረስ ላያችሁኝ በሚቀጥለው ቪዲዮ እስከምንገናኝ ይመቻችሁ